so fucking bring it on. Let's try it.
Yeah, what the fuck?
You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I can go back to what I was doing before. I was still healthy, so who gives a shit?
But I mean, you also go back to Pendulet's book, and like the reason that he does a lot of shit is for the story itself. So it's like, you know what? If you do this and it's successful, or you fail, you've got a story out of this.
Exactly.
So you know what? There's really no like bad outcome to this.
Right.
In a sense.
Right. So that's why, you know what? I'll give this intermittent fasting thing a try, and I'll give this cold stress thing a try, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, like I do the intermittent fasting as well. It's like my basic rule is nothing after 7:30.
Nice.
And then, like, usually I'll be at work by like 7:30, 7:45 the next morning anyways, and I'm usually not even that hungry, but like by the time I get out of there at like, let's say 12 or like 1 o'clock even, or whatever have you, I'm like, fuck it, get out of my fucking way right now.
Yeah.
Then, you know, I'll go home, I'll cook up a couple slices of like Canadian bacon, I'll make some scrambled eggs with some chopped up pepperoni into it, maybe a little bit of seasoning, that's it.
Nice.
You know, and that usually like holds me over, and like by the time 7:30 comes around, if I'm a little bit hungry, I'm just like, yeah, I want to, but you know what, cut off mark, we're good.
Yeah. Well, if you want to try the contrast shower, which is what I've been doing, it's just, you can take like your regular shower first if you want, or you can just do the contrast shower right away, but you do 10 seconds warm, 20 seconds cool or cold, and then you just do that 10 times. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Repeat that a total of 10 times, and then end on cold. And you could either do the last cold for 20 seconds, or you can try to go for 2 minutes on the last run of cold. And then that's it. Get out of the shower, dry yourself off. But then the key is to not go and like instantly go warm yourself back up again. You know, just get dressed, let your body naturally warm back up. And the idea behind that is, much like a swimmer when they get out of the pool, they've just done a lot of their body heat has just escaped to the water because the water is cooler than they are.
Yeah.
So heat goes to where it's coldest. So that's why swimmers burn a shitload of calories. That's why Michael Phelps can eat 12,000 calories a day, is because of the thermal load of the water. So the idea behind it is to force your body into a similar state where it has to heat itself back up. And when your body has to heat itself back up, it preferentially chooses fat over any other fuel.
Right.
And they did tests to see the guy, like, oh, he's lifting weights, he's burning carbohydrates, but when he came out of the pool and was warming up, he's burning fat.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like hibernation in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea is to not exercise as much and basically force yourself into what he calls a metabolic winter. And it's pretty fascinating. And I'm like, well, fuck it. What have I got to lose except for some body fat? I'll lose body fat happily.
You like barely have any.
No, I have it in my gut. You can't see it on my arms or in my face really, but I have a lot in my gut to lose.
I tell you, man, as far as I'm concerned, you ain't got any. So you know what, man.
Well, I've come down to a very healthy. Well, that's the thing is I'm at a healthy weight. I'm at 135, which is very respectable. But the thing is that I still have a decent amount of belly fat, which I'm trying to lose, and that's really why I'm trying this, is because I don't want to necessarily lose more weight, but I would like to lose more body fat if I can.
Fair enough.
And if I can't, then I can. Like I said, I'm happy where I am, but if nothing else, I try this. And the other thing, too, is the other reason I wanted to try the contrast shower is since I've lost as much weight as I have, I dropped like 45 pounds. I'm super sensitive to cold now. So, like, I'll go out in even not really cold temperatures, and I'll be like, fuck me, it's cold. So if nothing else, what I could get out of this contrast shower is reacclimating to colder temperatures so I'm not so fucking sensitive to it.
Well, and you could also go to Minnesota if you want to do that.
I could. Go watch the Vikings, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Are they still undefeated?
No, they've lost a couple of games.
Did they?
Yeah. But yeah, like, one of the last conversations I had with my doctor was, he was like, you know what? Yeah, we're going by the BMI scale, which is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute bullshit. I know it. You know it. He's even admitted to me. He's like, yeah, it doesn't accumulate like muscle mass in there. So he's like, you know, so Michael Jordan in his prime, according to the BMI scale, was obese.
Right.
You know, Tom Brady is obese.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pick like, you know, fucking like Carl.
Imagine Brock Lesnar.
Dude, Brock
He must
Lesnar.
be morbidly obese.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar is morbidly obese according to that thing.
You tell him he's morbidly
Yeah,
obese.
like, you call him a fat motherfucker and just see what happens.
Yeah, seriously.
But he's like, yeah. So he's like, you know, what goal weight do you want to get down to? I was like, well, what does the chart say? Because like, I could get down to 200 pounds and I'd be happy with that and just be like, you know what, I feel good right now. I feel like I can maintain this. Like if I lose a few more pounds, great. If not, yeah, I'm okay as long as I stay like in a 5 pound, I'd say, range.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, well, you know, if we get you down to, I think it was like 185 or something like that, he's like, that puts you in the overweight category, which he's like, that's perfectly fine. He's like, if you get down to 175, he's like, you're in the normal range. He's like, ultimately, he's like, that's where I'd like to see you get, but he's like, really, it comes down to where do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let's get down to 200 pounds first, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. That's respectable.
So,
because I'm sure you'll get there, and then once you get to that point, you'll probably be like, oh, I could probably take this a little bit further.
Yeah, and it's
that's the thing. You just keep stepping it down and stepping it down.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. He's like, you know, I don't want you to look at this as just, it's a diet. He's like, I want you to look at this as it's a lifestyle change.
I'd be curious, too, to ask him whether or not this ketosis thing is going to be permanent or if he's ever going to switch you to a different diet. Because I have read that ketosis in the long term is not necessarily a good thing.
I don't know. That's why I imagine, like, you know, like he's even told me, like, at this point, if I wanted to, like, have a cheat meal, like, once a week, he's like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, you've earned it.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine, like, with the cheat weeks and whatnot, like, that kind of breaks everything up. Like,
yeah.
So if I go have, like, a bagel and, like, a candy bar or something like that, and that kind of fucks it up, and then I could just go back on the diet, kind of reprogram it and whatnot, and that would kind of fix it.
Well, no, I mean, like, is he going to keep you on the ketosis thing, and then at a certain point, like, let's say you reach your target weight, let's say you get down to 200 or 185 or 175, whatever it is he at that point going to, is his plan to eventually, like, switch you to something else? Like, okay, you're done with the ketosis thing because you got down your goal weight, now this is what you're going to do going forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'd be curious to know that too.
I'd be curious to know that too, but I think it's one of those things. Like, that's the bridge that I'll worry about when I get there.
When you get there, yeah.
You know, because like I don't want to look at it like, you know, I don't want to be like, oh my god, there's a waterfall right there. We're heading towards it. What do we do? Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, all right, I'm here in this moment. I'm still like working on this. Like,
you don't want to psych yourself out of it, basically.
Exactly. I don't want to be like, okay, here's what I have to do after this, and then, you know, start to worry about that before I've even done it.
Right. And the inverse, too. Like, if you find out, like, you get to have all cheesecakes, you know, after that point, or whatever, you know, you find out you get to have all cookies after that point, you also don't necessarily want to psych yourself up and, like, you know, get your hopes up for it either, and then, because the times that you fail and you go backwards, you'll be like, fuck, now I'm further from that cool thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I can understand that. When the carrot's not dangling in front of you, you're not so apt to run after it.
Yeah. Like,
you're willing to just kind of ride it out and deal with it.
But, like, I also agree with Pendulette in the sense of, like, I have to take a diet and make it a little bit crazy for me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the, what was it? The, like with this diet, like, you know, you can have natural sugars, like fruits or whatnot after, like, 2 weeks or something like that. I'm just like, again, I'm not going to fucking do that.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I don't want to memorize any fucking list. And number two, it's like, whatever. I don't want to fucking do that. I'd rather, you know, you give me a choice between an apple and a fucking plate of bacon. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going for the fucking bacon 10 out of 10 times here.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's just that's the thing. Like, I have to make that a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Like with Pendulette, it was like, okay, you can have nothing but potatoes for the first 2 weeks. Any kind of potato you want, no oil, no salt, no pepper, no butter, no nothing. And, like, you can boil them, you can bake them, you can eat them raw if you want to, but, like,
boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
You can have as many as you want. But, you know, so that's the thing. Like, I have to make it, like, a little bit crazy. That way, like,
ultimately, you got to do what works for you.
Yeah, it's like what DDP says with his yoga program. Just make it your own.
Make it your own.
Squat, drop, and push.
Use a chair. Yeah. That's where Arthur started. Ladies, you want to hold back the hands of time? Squeeze those glutes.
Don't forget to stretch out your quads.
Bang!
I like DDP.
I like DDP too.
We'll make a quick mention here before we actually end this fucking podcast. So
didn't we end like half an hour ago or something?
We were supposed to, I think.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know if you heard the news about Big Van Vader.
Yeah, he's given like 6 days to live or 6 weeks to live or something like that.
His doctors gave him 2 years to live because his heart is in such bad condition from years of football and pro wrestling and whatnot.
Jesus.
So,
I hope it's not true. I mean, he is one to kind of not like lie, but he does kind of
maybe stretch the truth a little bit.
Maybe, he tends to get a little crazy.
Maybe, but it's like, okay, why lie about something like this?
Yeah, I don't see why he'd lie about it either. So I hope it's not true, and I wish him the best of luck. But man,
I tell you, man, like it's one thing to like lie about like a backstage fight, like who started what. All right, whatever have you. Like you lie about like having a heart condition that like your doctors give you like 2 fucking years to live. Like if you're lying about that, like that's just beyond douchey. Like that's like
he's an asshole.
Yeah, that's like reaching into like a charity jar and stealing from it, kind of douchey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope it's not true, but for so many reasons.
Yeah. Well. I hope he I hope something comes out of it. You know, I hope like I don't know, maybe like stem cell research, maybe because like there have been studies that have been shown to like that people have like had a heart attack or something like that. They put like stem cells on it, and like the heart cells are repaired, like no damage was done to it. So I don't know if like if he's like just past like the breaking point of like, you know, there's nothing we can do about it, or you know, if there is something that they can do about it, or I don't know what. But
well, proponents of that whole food plant-based diet thing seem to say that, you know, it'll reverse effects of like, you know, damage to your heart and arteries and shit like that. So that's what they say. It's just maybe it's true, but I don't know. I'm not willing to try it yet.
Maybe it's true, but it's like I don't see any sound science behind that.
Yeah.
Like the whole like, hey, the body breaks things down like this. You lose weight if you eat more fats. Like I can attest to that because I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I were like a stroke victim or something like that, and they say, oh, you know, it's all natural plant diet, this is gonna improve your brain function. It's like, well, how do you know? Like what scientific evidence do you have? Like legit scientific evidence, not like, hey, the Center for Veganism, you know, put out this study and they did this. And it's like, well, of course they came to this result. It's like
right.
This would be like Coca-Cola coming out with a fucking a scientific study that says, hey, guess what? Sugary drinks don't link you to diabetes.
Right. That's like Liz just got a book from the library that I'm pretty intrigued by. It's called something like The Vegetarian Myth or something like that, and it seems to be about that sort of thing, like how legit is vegetarianism and how, you know, how resourceful is it or whatever.
And it's like, look, the last thing I want to be on here is fucking preachy, but it's like, you know what, man, if you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegan, if you're a fucking carnivore like myself, just be you.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't push it on anybody else.
Right. Do what works for you. And
exactly.
If that's all plants, great. If it's all meat, whatever.
Yep.
Just do what works for you.
And just, you know what, just keep it to yourself. Like if a friend says, hey, you know, you look like you lost like 10 pounds. How'd you do it? You know, you want to tell them then? Okay, great. Like, oh, you know, I changed over to, you know, like this type of diet and whatnot, and it seems to be working for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's fine, but like, just don't be a douche about it. Like, I'm a vegan. I don't believe in this and that. It's like, calm the fuck down, okay? We worked our way to the top of the food chain for a fucking reason here.
Right. Get off your soapbox so I can hit you with it.
Exactly.
Can I borrow that for a second? Thanks. Bang!
Don't fucking do that, you asshole!
Oh, man.
Get going, you son of a
whore! Love that. All right, that's going to do it for our podcast this week. Don't forget, you can email the show at STS